right, hello everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Yet Another Movie Podcast. The movie podcast where we talk about movies, movie news, our thoughts on film, and anything Sean and I have seen lately. Speaking of, I am Shane, and joined here with...
Sean Higgins.
Yeah, and
for some spooky Halloween episode.
Spooky Halloween indeed. Yes, so we are doing our Halloween special on an actor you may have heard of if you're a horror fan. His name is Vincent Price. I presume you read the title of this podcast, so you know what we're talking about.
Yes.
But because this is the first official episode of the podcast, well, you know, on this rendition, we're really trying to get it working this time. Although I think we are. We got the first recording up, so we're moving pretty well along. We'll start out by talking a little bit about movie news and the box office. In the last 2 weeks, we're doing this podcast bi-weekly, so you may be listening to this a few days after these news stories came out. But we are kind of covering right now the first half of October, as there's a little bit of delay between when the podcast releases when we're discussing. However, we'll also be talking about things that Sean and I just general watches. We talked about how you might watch movies and just want to talk about them, give your thoughts, and I'll watch movies. And, you know, you can hear our thoughts on those kind of random picks. And then, of course, we'll get into the topic itself. If you would like to skip to the topic, there are time stamps in the description. Feel free to skip on ahead to the Vincent Price marathon we did, but otherwise we will jump into movie news. All right, Sean. First thing is first, I'm going to talk about the box office last weekend. So it's October, so of course we're going to expect some horror films. Of course. Sean and I are a little bit behind on the...
You'd be shocked. I'm at 26 movies on my horror marathon, including some of these Vincent Price movies, but I have only seen 1 or 2 movies in theaters this month, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, I have some real big gaping holes in my watch list that I still want to get to. However, some of these we've seen. The big premiere of this week was Black Phone 2. Black Phone 2 being the sequel to Scott Derrickson's original, The Black Phone. And Sean and I both watched Black Phone. We had...
Yeah, back when it came out.
Obviously not just now,
not recently,
but we did. It was only a few years ago when it came out, so it's not bad.
Yeah, 2021 actually. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but apparently it's 4 years.
4 years ago.
That's
yeah.
Weird.
Well, I guess when you look at Mason Thames, or however you say his name, Thames. I don't know how to say his last name. He's aged quite a bit since the first movie.
Sure, that's fair.
I was like watching How to Train Your Dragon. I'm like, oh, this is the kid from The Black Phone. Wow, he's older now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But so. We'll probably see that one, right?
Yeah.
Sean and I are...
It's Scott Derrickson, so...
Yeah, how long can we just say Scott Derrickson and just say it's going to be good? I don't know. You probably like Scott Derrickson.
You're right.
I do.
You're right. That's fair. I'm still giving him a lot of credit for, like, Sinister and Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Exorcism of Emily Rose is great.
Yeah. And so is Sinister.
Yeah, Sinister is good. I think it has problems, but, you know... A couple silly jump scares, for instance, that are questionable decisions.
Yes, there's the one scene, but...
Yeah, there's a couple of those that bother me. Little things.
Anyway.
But Day the Earth Stood Still is more what I was thinking. It's like,
I still haven't seen it,
okay.
Fair, so...
Well, there you go.
I'll hold off, at least. But.
So that was the big release. Of course, we have a carryover, Tron Ares, which dropped 66% weekend over weekend, coming in with another $11 million. I have just read that the movie's expected to lose over $140 million at the box office. So
I am so shocked. You can tell by my face and my voice that I am terribly shocked.
Now, Sean and I did see Tron Ares. We were actually thinking about doing a Tron podcast. Yeah. However, all the movies to me were meh to like okay.
I think the first one is fine. Like, I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
That's the one I'd recommend people see.
It has character. It has interesting visuals.
I liked Tron Legacy when it came out, but rewatching it, I was like, it's not, like, unwatchable at all. There's definitely good things about it, but, like, overall, it's not amazing.
It doesn't give me a huge reason
Tron Ares is absolutely... It does go down by each movie.
Yes.
Like, half a star down. So it started 3 stars. We're at about 2 stars now with Tron Ares, so...
Tron Ares is just kind of boring. Yeah, unfortunately. That's just what it ended up being to me. Yeah. And then another holdover we have yet to see, both of us, One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson's newest release. It is making a decent amount of money. It's actually now his highest grossing movie of all time.
Okay.
However, the budget was also quite high, so I'm not sure if it's going to quite make money at the box office. But
how is it critically?
Well, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's considered one of his best films.
Well, that's good.
But Your Movie Sucks. Adam gave it a 10 out of 10. So.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah,
okay.
He gave
now
it.
I really need to see it.
It's a rare
For those who
rating.
don't know, Your Movie Sucks. Adam over there is very critical, and getting even an 8 or higher is like, holy crap, you need to see that immediately.
Yeah. Well, we're planning on seeing it, I believe. So,
Yeah.
So those are the big box office. Oh, and The Conjuring 4 officially became the highest-grossing Conjuring movie now.
I guess I'm not that surprised.
Now, there is some disagreement because I heard a rumor that they're making a Conjuring prequel movie, that's now in development because of the success of the fourth one. However, Michael Chavez, the director of Conjuring 3 and 4, came out just today, I think, and said, no, there's no sequel planned. But he I don't know if he's meaning just sequel, but he really sounded like he was saying Conjuring movies, period. So
that's odd. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, it would be kind of stupid to me for them to not develop more movies because it is already a franchise.
Right.
There's this weird thing where certain franchises end with the highest grossing movie. Have you ever noticed that with some, especially older franchises? They release the highest grossing movie and then for some reason or another it just stops.
Year, Final Destination was that.
Yeah.
But the fifth one was the highest grossing, and then it took till this year from 2011 to get a new one.
The franchise that I have been struggling with clamoring for a sequel for decades now, National Treasure 2 made way more money than National Treasure did. Has yet.
I'd almost be scared at this point. That almost feels like when they oh, you did so good, and now we're going to capitalize, make a sequel decades later, and it's just going to not be.
Well,
good.
As long as they bring back John Turteltaub, which
That's
is
fair.
A weird statement to say. I would never say that in any other context.
Look, he did go with the National Treasure movies.
Cool Runnings guy. Let's get him.
Yes,
no,
I understand,
but yes, in terms of specifically National Treasure, Jerry Bruckheimer and John Turteltaub will sell
you
me.
get the same crew back, yeah.
Yeah, of course, Nick Cage and Diane Kruger and Justin Bartha, the trio.
Okay, I'm glad. I was going to call him Riley. I was like, I don't know who plays Riley.
The guy from The Hangover. Yeah, no.
That's right, he is in The Hangover.
He is.
I haven't seen that in years. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of the box office. Now, going over to some news really quick. Some not surprising news. Minecraft 2 is officially in the works, set for a summer 2027 release. So you and I, Sean, can expect to get our Minecraft on again.
Oh, I'm very excited because I love the first movie.
I did not love the first movie.
I'm saying that sarcastically.
I know.
The movie was so bad.
So there's that. They actually re-greenlit the Tangled live-action remake, which didn't surprise me. I don't know if you were aware, but after the box office of Snow White, they actually suspended all the Disney live-action remakes because they were like, "Oh, maybe people don't want to see recycled garbage
what a
remakes."
Thought.
But then Lilo and Stitch came out and made $1 billion.
So never mind. They almost learned, and then
people do want recycled garbage. It's just a different type of recycled garbage.
Yeah,
recycled garbage that doesn't star Gal Gadot, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
And Rachel Ziegler.
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't think Ziegler's ever been in a successful movie. Every movie.
How did West Side Story do? I guess it didn't do well.
Bombed.
Yeah, that's right.
Terribly.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything.
Don't cast her if you want your movie to do well. All right, and then a couple other interesting sequels happening. George Clooney says Ocean's 14 will shoot in 2026.
Okay.
He says that Brad Pitt and Matt Damon are likely to return, so the old crew back together. I don't know. That's not part of it.
That'll be interesting.
Yes, if Soderbergh is interested in going back to that. Sean and I watched the Ocean's movies. Didn't we do it together, I think, a long time ago? Yeah, for Ocean's 8, I thought that was a great movie. Not. And then we also have Heat 2 is officially happening. Michael Mann is directing.
Okay.
And Leo apparently might be starring. Leonardo DiCaprio might be starring in the movie.
Interesting.
Now, Michael Mann has been wanting to make Heat 2 for a while, and he actually wrote a novel version of the movie. I have not read it, nor did I want to, because I kind of
I
want to
literally
just
didn't
wait
know
for the
that
movie.
until I was just at Half Price Books like this year, and I was just like, what the hell is Heat 2? Are you serious?
Yeah, he wrote it as a book because he thought he'd never get it made, but it sounds like it actually might be getting made, which is great. I love Michael Mann, and I'd love to see what he does with it. And he also mentioned that they might be doing de-aging stuff too, so it might be, because I think the book takes place only a few years after the original, so they'd have to de-age several people.
Yeah.
So, good. So that's kind of the gist of the basic movie news. Now, again, some weeks will have more than others. And of course, there are some upcoming movies that, we'll probably be planning on seeing. Anything that catches your eye, Sean, for the rest of the year?
Off the top of my head, I mean, Wicked 2.
Sure.
That'll be good. I'm hoping.
Well, you'd expect it to be.
I would expect it to.
Reasonably good conclusion, right?
I'm curious because I've never seen the play. I know nothing of the story. I went into the first movie blind. That's continuing with this one, so I'm curious to see, because obviously from the trailer, like, this is where we're going to get into the Wizard of Oz story. So it's kind of like my biggest question, and you kind of alluded they addressed this, is like, so in Wizard of Oz, the good fairy like sends them kind of, it's like, beware the evil witch, go to Oz, but the evil witch, she's evil. It's like, so is she like setting, and now in this version, is she going to be setting this like her best friend up to be like murdered? Like, wait a minute, how are we going to do this?
You'll have to see the movie.
Okay, fair. So
yeah, so I mean, we'll keep an eye on it. We have the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie Begonia. That's the one where Emma Stone is apparently an alien, and those two
yeah, I think I've seen the
goobers.
trailers for that.
Yeah, I think that she's an alien. Yeah, I guess. Shelby Oaks, Chris Stuckman's movie, which
ready to get Stuckmanized?
Which we may do a special episode on, depending.
I feel like I really want to.
I am curious about it, I gotta be honest. And that's really about it, the major releases for the rest of the month. And that Bruce Springsteen movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Yeah.
What a weird
No,
title.
as we get into the holiday season, we'll definitely have more movie news, because obviously that's when all of the Oscar-nominated movies are going to be coming out. If they haven't, there's probably been a few that'll crop up, because there always are, but a lot of the ones that, they'll crop up and we'll go, oh, wait, this is getting Oscar buzz. So tell people to go see it.
We will. We will recommend movies as we see fit. All right. So, Sean, have you watched anything lately you want to discuss? Again, it can be new or old. No bar on this topic, just for fun.
Well, being this is my favorite month of the year, and I am a huge horror fan, I have been watching lots of scary movies.
All right.
I'm actually at 26 movies so far, and we have about 10 days left of October, so I am well on my way to get over 31 movies, which is usually the challenge, to at least see 31. Let's see, some good, like, first-time watches. Phantom of the Opera, the original silent movie, I watched that just yesterday, and that was really good with Lon Chaney. He was an iconic actor at the time in silent films, where he did his own makeup and everything, and yeah, it holds up. He is incredibly creepy looking in the movie. It's all, it's celebrated its 100 years birthday just this last month, so I was like, okay, I have to put that on the watch list for this month, and it's on Shudder right now. I honestly highly recommend checking it out.
If you want to think about this, it's a little bit crazy, but we are 2 years away from the 100th anniversary of Talkies.
That's crazy.
The jazz singer, 1927, will turn 100 years old, and maybe I'll finally watch it.
I feel like that could be a fun special podcast. So, like, 100 years of Talkies. like,
yeah, because it is crazy that it's been that long. Anything else you wanted to highlight, just real quick before?
I did some rewatches. I watched Mario Bava's Black Sunday, which is an incredibly creepy witch horror film, folk horror from 1960. I watched this movie that's more like a fantasy fairy tale kind of thing called The Company of Wolves. If you're a fan of like the Grimm's fairy tales, like the Grimm's fairy tale version of Little Red Riding Hood, this movie plays off of that with like werewolves and stuff, but it's much more like fantasy elements. So if you're not a big horror fan, but that still sounds interesting to you, I would highly recommend checking that one out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several ones on here. I watched a lot of like B-movie things, like this really silly horror film called Ice Cream Man, starring Clint Howard as a killer ice cream man. It is hilariously bad. So if you want a so bad it's good movie, I'll recommend that one. Sure.
All right.
And then this cool zombie film, Pontypool. It's a Canadian zombie film where all takes place in a radio station, and it's mostly done by. Most of the horror is done off screen and you hear it, but it's surprisingly very effective.
And it's a zombie movie, right?
It's a zombie movie.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. All right, good. So, in the first half of October, I've already mentioned several of the watches. I haven't watched as many films as you have, so Congratulations on that. Although I expect to ramp it up a little bit toward the end of October here.
Sure.
But I did watch the original Funny Games, Mikkel Haneke, films. I adore his filmmaking. What a great movie, and such a great deconstruction of horror, especially violent slasher type horror, and really calls out the audience, which I definitely feel makes you think,
right.
And I think it was a very good critique of some horror tropes and what the audience is looking for in horror. So there's that, and then I've watched a couple of bad movies. A friend of mine, not you, but a different friend of mine. We always pick 2 bad horror movies, one each, to watch. He picked The Houses October Built 2, which is the sequel to the original Houses October Built. Very obscure movie. Found footage, but...
I think it's found... I've never seen these, actually.
Yeah, they're found footage, and it's bad. It was really boring. Terribly made. And then the other one we watched is one I picked, Don't Look at the Demon. Which I picked
it solely because of the title, didn't you? You were like, this is the stupidest title I've ever seen.
That's what caught my eye. And then I watched the trailer, and there was like a woman bashing her head against the wall on top of a ladder, which looked funny to me.
Okay.
So we watched it. It was really funny. It was delightful.
Violence against women is funny to shame.
Yes, it was a funny movie. They loved their drone, and it was very poorly lit. The whole movie was terribly lit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Probably talk about the rest of the good horror movies I watched this month in our next episode. But all right, are you ready, Sean, to move on to our main topic of the night?
All right.
And that is the Vincent Price Marathon. So, this marathon, I'll just give a little bit of summation. So we have set a couple of ground rules. The first is that Vincent Price had to play a significant role in the movie. Did not have to be a starring role. In fact, a couple of these movies, he is not the star of the movie.
Yep.
But it had to be a significant role. Sean didn't let me pick, like, what was the one that I mentioned in jest that he's in? Like 5 minutes of, he said. I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember what this is.
Wasn't it like Sweeney Todd or something? Or was it the other one, Edward Scissorhands?
Oh, Edward Scissorhands, yeah.
Yeah, I get those two.
He's in like the opening scene, and that's it.
So like,
I mean, it is his last movie. He literally died before the movie came out.
And if you look him up on Letterboxd, I think it's his #1 movie that shows up.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
That might be more just who's using Letterboxd. A lot of millennials and stuff.
Well, it's a much more popular movie.
Yeah, that's more of what that is.
But so he has to play a significant role, and it also had to be a horror film, at least partially. We wanted to kind of make this a horror marathon, for the month of October. We could have picked
Laura or some of his other classics from that era.
Yeah, but we didn't.
Yeah, so, we wanted to keep it to horror. So.
And then the last thing is to make this a reasonable list. We didn't want to watch all of it. That would be time prohibitive. So each of us picked a movie, one each, in 3 different categories. One that we thought might be bad. I believe they were both blind watches for both of us. But
yes.
One we thought that might be bad. One Edgar Allan Poe adaptation, which he has many.
Yeah.
And many of them were with Roger Corman as well, which is
pretty much, I believe, all of them.
Every single one,
except for Oblong Box.
Oblong Box, which I didn't even know was a Poe rendition.
Technically, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, And then finally we picked one that we thought would be good, and
yes,
went from there.
that
So
are like considered his best movies.
Yeah.
And I've definitely seen outside of this more Vincent Price than you have. Although I think you have seen at least one or two outside this marathon.
yeah,
Where did you want to start?
Well, I think I'll let you start, Sean, and I'll let us start off with our bad picks. Let's try and get slowly better as we go on.
Yes, I like that idea.
So Sean, tell me about House of the Long Shadow.
Why did I pick this? Okay, so this was a bad pick, so good job me. I thought it was going to be funny bad based on the trailer, because the trailer is hilarious. Mm-hmm. So I guess context for why this movie even came into mind was, I believe it was just last year. We both went to, there's a local theater that shows like older horror films every week, and they were showing House of Wax in the original 3D, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally want to see that.
Yeah, and House of Wax is kind of like the spiritual seventh pick, I guess, because both of us did see it in theaters.
Count that too, sure.
Yeah,
but they showed the trailer for this movie, and the movie is Vincent Price voiceover in it, and it was clear it's meant to be silly, whatever, or like that's what it looked like from the trailer.
Yeah.
And he just goes, he's like naming the actors. He's like Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee and Vincent Price. That's me. Like he says that in the trailer, and it's just like
it's
as
funny the way
goofy as it is. Yeah, I mean, look up the trailer; it's hilarious. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a funny, dumb, bad movie. Probably the ratings aren't great, but whatever. And it is listed as a horror comedy. I'm just curious where a lot of the comedy was, because I think the comedy was supplanted by us making fun of the movie, not the movie itself. It was kind of dull, unfortunately. And the thing is, I also love like those gothic, like haunted house, creepy old house, the old dark house subgenre of horror. And it wasn't even good at being that, unfortunately. Or even a satire.
Yeah, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, essentially the premise of the movie is you have an author, a writer who kind of as a bet says that he can write a book that's better than
this dude
Dickens.
Is such an arrogant prick. Like he's your main character, but he starts off like talking to his publisher, because his publisher is like basically saying like, what, you think you're as good as like Charles Dickens and like all these like classical authors? Yeah. Like you think you could write Wuthering Heights? And he's like, oh, I could write that in a day or whatever. He's like, oh, that stuff is passé, it's boring, it's old or whatever.
But he's like, to do that, I need to be in a very secluded place where no one will bother me. So then he's like, oh, I happen to have this mansion in the middle of Wales you can go to.
I just happen to have this mansion. Oh, that's nice.
It's like, oh, perfect. So basically the movie gets him there within like 10 minutes, which I think is very expeditious for a film to get to
fairness, economical. I do like that. Like,
yeah. And then, so there's a couple of major problems I have with this movie. So Desi Arnaz Jr. is our author character, and he's the son of Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, who are a very famous couple. We saw the Aaron Sorkin movie that covers, I believe we saw it.
I don't think I saw it.
Oh, did you not see it? Okay, anyway, Aaron Sorkin made a movie kind of about their relationship. Yeah. It was an interesting movie, not his greatest film, but their son is not the greatest actor. And you can kind of tell like he definitely would have more of a home in a comedy. He has that sort of
he definitely
personality and timing.
Like, I'm like, why isn't he in a sitcom or something?
And this movie is supposedly a horror comedy, but like none of the funny lines are given to him, really. He just kind of seems aloof and like reading monotone the entire time. And then, so the other thing, the reason why I think they made this movie is they're like, hey, we can get John Carradine, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, and Christopher Lee and throw them in a room.
Yeah. And that'll like make money.
Yeah,
because all these classic. Because this came out in 1983, so by then it was like these are the classic guys from the 50s and 60s.
Also, I looked it up. It did apparently make money. It made like $3 million or something.
It is low budget, so it probably made its money back. I'm sure.
Yeah, it seemed like it did.
That's fair.
And yes, it does feel low budget. They made this movie for $0 exactly. All of the money went to the actors. And nothing was left over. So it's just extremely lazy. It's extremely slow. I don't know if you agree with that.
I felt that too. I was like, oh, darn it. I was really hoping this would be...
I swear there's like 3,
More
4,
interesting.
5 minutes. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're watching it, it feels like 30 minutes of him just slowly walking around the house when he gets there.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It takes a little too long. It's like you are really stretching this out. And it's 100 minutes, too. It does not need to be that.
They could have easily
Like, some of these movies we watched were like 70, 80 minutes.
cut 20 minutes out of this movie.
Yeah, like, just cut 20 minutes. It would have been fine.
Would have been
Probably would have been
less boring.
more watchable.
Yeah, more watchable for sure.
Oh my gosh.
And
The only thing I'd be curious, like, watching this with, like, a horror crowd, maybe that I could see, like, what is the vibe of, like, what are you guys, like, some of the ratings are, like, fair, and they're like, oh, yeah, I laughed at this, and, like on Letterboxd, I was reading some reviews, and they weren't, like, that bad. Like, they were, like, 3 stars, 3.5 even, a couple of them, and I'm like, okay, what are you finding funny, though? So I would love to watch this with a crowd of, like, horror fans and see, like, what am I missing? Am I missing anything, or are you guys just crazy here? Because I just didn't find it that funny.
Well,
outside of, again, what we were saying, like, we were making stuff up.
Yeah, you're just making jokes because you have to entertain yourself somehow for the 100 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But Sean, to get to the climax of the film,
Yeah, do we want to do spoilers or not? I mean, I know, we're not recommending this movie, but
I think we can do spoilers, and we'll do them at the end of each movie so that people can just skip to the time code to the next movie. So this is the spoiler discussion. To introduce, Sean, have you heard of the David Fincher movie The Game?
No, what's that? Yes, I've heard of that.
Did that not remind you of the ending of this movie?
It is literally the game.
So all the deaths in the movie, all the characters slowly die across the movie. They're all fake. They were all pretending to be dead. Because I don't know why. Because the publisher is an asshole.
No, the publisher was like, yeah, it's like, so he made this bet. And I guess, okay, the only thing I can think is, because it's kind of like he learned something from this, that, like, it's not about making money or something.
Which I guess does work, because he tears up the check at the end.
Which I'm like, okay, it's still like, why are you tearing up the check?
Just donate it to charity or something.
Yeah, like, fine.
I always hate when they refuse money in movies.
It's like, then donate it to someone.
Yeah, just give it to the poor. Like, don't rip up the check.
Why do we... Shane, we don't want rich people feeling like they need to give to the poor.
Oh, okay.
You know?
True.
Like, come on. Like, rich people don't do that. Anyway. No, I agree. It is like, it's just kind of odd of how, like, okay, so what was the point of that? Because, like, he still does the bet. I thought he was, like, screwing with him so he wouldn't win the bet, but then he still does it.
It cuts to the next scene and he's written the book in 24 hours.
Yeah, so he's still, like, I guess he extended it, like, okay, I was messing with you, fine, you get another 24 hours.
That was a nice practical joke where I hired all these actors who apparently do this for a living. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
They were talking about all their different performances and like, oh, I wish I could die in this one, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what?
I guess, like, they could just be, like, local theater actor kind of thing. I could go with that, I guess. Like, not that they, like, prank people for a living.
Very
I guess
committed.
I didn't necessarily think that's what was going on.
That's true. I guess it's just think of, like, the danger that, like, Christopher Lee would have incurred when he's chasing after him at the end.
I know, like, it ends, like, before the reveal happens, Christopher Lee is, like, chasing them around with an axe that's, like, a real axe, apparently, as far as we know.
It doesn't look like a real axe because he, like,
well, the thing is, like, he gets kicked and fall down the stairs, and as he gets up, like, the axe is embedded in his chest. It's like, oh, the bad guy died. And then it's, like, revealed, actually, no, it's all fake. I'm like, dude, he could have stabbed you.
I know.
Like, you could have actually been killed. Well, you're an idiot.
Yeah, it just seemed like they didn't think about it too much.
Well, this is in general my thing. Like, I'm all up for a good prank, but a good prank needs to be, one, a prank that everyone will find funny, and a lot of people don't understand that. And then, two, safe.
Yeah.
No one's going to die accidentally.
This seems neither safe nor. And then the biggest issue, I think, is that the 4 actors are phoning it in. Didn't you get that impression? Like, none of them are really...
Oh, yeah, I felt like none of them wanted to be there. It was like, hey, quick paychecks. Just like, Peter Cook is like, look, just give me a paycheck.
Carradine's literally on death's door in this movie. He looks like he's about to keel over.
When did Carradine die? Did he actually die? Like,
did he die during the movie?
No, not during the movie. But, like, soon after this movie?
Let's take a look.
I'm actually curious. Because I know Peter Cushing was alive to, like, 94, I want to say. I think Vincent Price, pretty similar, like 92.
So the movie came out in 1983. Carradine died in 88, so he's 5 years from death.
Okay.
Which sounds about right.
And then Christopher Lee, obviously, would be the most recent this past.
Yeah,
like
he made it
so.
quite a while compared to the others.
I don't remember when he actually passed, but it was.
Lee passed in 2015, so.
Oh, it's been a decade. Okay, I thought it was less than a decade. Wow. Okay, but yes, 2015. That's still, by far lasting a lot longer than the other ones.
Yeah, and the
thing is, I like all 4 of these actors. Especially in like.
In other things.
Yeah, in other things. I mean, obviously, Peter Cushing in Star Wars, but even in other horror films, like he's great.
The Hammer.
Yeah, a lot of the Hammer movies. Christopher Lee, arguably one of the best parts of a lot of the Hammer movies. John Carradine's a great actor. Vincent Price I like him a lot. It's just sad because it felt like all of them were kind of phoning it in. It's just like, that's so disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen them all do good things, for sure. But here they're just definitely phoning it in. They're not trying. So in the end, I ended up giving this movie a 3 out of 10. It was my lowest rating, spoiler alert, of the marathon. It just was really boring.
It's definitely, I think out of all of them, it's the worst one. It's the one where I don't think I'd go back to see it again anytime soon.
Nice job, I guess, picking.
Hey, you said pick a bad one, so.
I kind of hoped it would have been a fun bad one.
That's what I was hoping
some
for,
others
too.
on this list. Luckily, we did get
We did get one fun bad one that you picked.
Yes,
although, do we even want to? I guess we can get to it. Do we want to even say that it's a bad movie?
Well, we'll get to mine next, and we'll talk about that.
Fair.
So,
I don't want to rush us, but
no, I think it's time. So so for my quote unquote bad pick, I picked The Oblong Box, which is a 1969 movie directed by who could be one of the greatest, best, worst directors ever, Gordon Hessler, based on some of the other movies we saw in his filmography.
I want to do, maybe not this year. I think we're too packed. Next year, podcasts on that director.
Yeah, we just randomly discovered him.
Or just friggin' marathon him. I really want to watch the rest of his movies.
In full disclosure, Sean was kind of mad at me when I picked this movie. I don't know why you were particularly mad at me, because it was supposed to be kind of the bad pick, but it sounded like you were getting mad that I was trying to pick movies that looked like as terrible as possible.
What's the point? I guess initially I was like, are we doing like something that's like supposed to be good? So why are we picking bad movies? Like, why do you want to do that?
I've always had this sort of like curiosity about like picking like a random movie that nobody talks about, and just exploring it. It's kind of like archaeology to me. It's like, everyone talks about. I guess The Fly would be the good example here. Everyone talks about that. Everyone talks about
House on Haunted Hill.
I'm sure a lot of people do. I haven't heard many people talk about that, but a lot of people talk about House of Wax. People talk about these movies, but I like talking about the movies that like it feels like nobody talks about.
Yeah.
And then we feel like we're explorers back in media.
I could see that. I guess my hesitation was like, especially because this was pretty new for you, less so for me, I'm like, it's just going to put a bad taste in his mouth of like, or in other people's mouth of, this guy really is someone you want to uphold, huh?
Well, I hope you would think me a little bit better than that I would hold a movie against somebody.
That's fair. I'm just hesitant of it because I know, some people are like that, where it's just like, oh, okay.
I try not to be. I give every movie a chance. And to be fair, I gave The Oblong Box a chance. And let me just talk about it really quick. So the quick premise, it's set in the 19th century. And there are 2 brothers. It opens in a very weird dance sequence with like voodoo and African
We were a little
dancers.
worried if this is going to be racially insensitive. I'm not going to lie.
Kind of
is a little bit, but it's not a long
it's
part
not
of
the
the movie,
focus
at least,
of the movie.
So that's good.
It is a weird opening. And then so essentially Vincent Price plays a rich man in a manor, and his brother he keeps upstairs because he has been disfigured by these African people, because they were in a British colony, I suppose, and then went back to England. And then the plot of the movie is like a weird like plot to fake the brother's death so he could live his life normally because they don't want him to be seen as disfigured. Am I remembering this correct?
Something like that. Like he's disfigured, and I think it was like, wasn't it kind of like he's going to be a blight on our family kind of situation?
Yeah, something like that for sure. It seems like he's like unsightly and terrible, and they want to hide him. So, but anyway, it doesn't go the way it was planned, right? And they accidentally bury him alive, among other things, I believe, right? That's what happened.
Yeah.
And then the second half of this movie is what really surprised me because
It becomes a proto-slasher.
it's kind of like a slasher film. Yeah.
Yeah.
The second half is like a revenge slasher movie. And remember, this is 1969. This is before
Black Christmas, Halloween,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
It's right around the time of Psycho, a little bit after. But
Yeah, it's after Psycho and Peeping Tom. And it's after some of those Christopher Gordon-Lewis movies.
But I would argue that this movie is a little bit more like a typical slasher than Psycho is.
Yeah, I can see that.
So here's kind of like why it's, to me, it reminds me more of like Halloween than Psycho. So first of all, the Psycho is not a movie that is tremendously concerned with the kills. You know, they're there and they definitely are part of the movie, but a lot of it's like a mystery.
Right.
There's no mystery in Oblong Box. We know exactly what's
know
happening.
who's doing it.
Yeah, there's no
absolutely.
reveal at the end. None of that like Psycho has, because, you know, Hitchcock was very big into like the mystery part of it.
Yeah.
That's not here. But there are like some pretty violent scenes for the time of like stabbing and death and murder. And it's kind of like a killing spree too. So it's like, it just has these like images of Halloween.
It kind of becomes, and it's also, this just struck me. It's like, he's going after these people, like that's like his revenge, these couple of people, but it's also like anyone who gets in my way I'll also kill, and that's a typical slasher movie move. Like Michael is going after his sister or whatever, but if someone else is there in the way, they're going out too.
Yeah, I mean, he is an unstoppable force, right?
Right.
And that, you know, is really the other thing, is that he has this kind of creepy looking design to his outfit. He wears a mask, a red mask, and he does look kind of terrifying. In fact, there's a scene where a woman sees him out the window and screams, and you know what? I don't blame her. He looks kind of creepy.
Yeah. Right?
So I thought that was very interesting, and I did not expect all of this from the Oblong Box, because, again, I picked it because the title sounded dumb.
Sure.
Also, apparently, this is based on a Poe story. I had not heard of this one beforehand.
Based on it?
Yeah, but it's really just the title, and, like, that's about it. I mean, it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, when it comes to the filmmaking, I actually thought the filmmaking was one of the best of the movies we saw, which is hilarious. I know Gordon Hessler, you know, he's kind of a joke for the other things, but like I never, even like the blips we saw of his other movies, I never was like, oh, this is poorly directed. It's a little bit silly. Sure. But what I'll give a lot of credit to Oblong Box, because remember, 1969, this is still pretty early. They're shooting actually outdoors, not as many studio sets like Corman loved.
Yeah, Corman, that's the one downside of Corman movies, is how cheap they are.
There's a lot of shots in the actual dark, where it's hard to see. I remember, actually, I think one of my favorite scenes of any of the movies we watched is when the lawyer, gets in the carriage and rides off into the countryside and discovers that he's in the middle of the dark woods, and he gets out and it's actually a dark woods.
Yeah.
And it gets
it's not
surprised.
day for night or something.
No, and then he gets surprised by the killer and eventually killed.
Was there day for night earlier in the movie, though? I'm trying to remember. I feel like there was a little.
There might have been a little bit, but it wasn't as noticeable as some of the others.
It's not ridiculous, like noticeable.
It's not the Raven.
No, it's not the Raven.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to the Raven. Why did you switch? We could have done House of Usher, man.
I'm happy we didn't. That was funny. And so I gotta say, even though I feel like we've been doing spoilers this whole time. I mean, this movie is a lot less plot focused than the other. It's
not like there's a twist or anything.
Not really.
You kind of know where it's going.
Yeah, it has some like, you know, shocking deaths and stuff that are certainly interesting. But what I really did, I enjoyed the again, like the filmmaking a little bit more than the others. You know, the lower ones to me. and the design of the killer and the idea that it's kind of a proto slasher, like you said. And of course, there's the other Vincent Price movie we didn't get to, which is like a proto Saw or
the Abominable Dr. Fives,
Yes.
which I really wanted to get to, because that's one of his good ones for sure.
Well, we will get to it. I'm sure eventually we can probably do something on Saw and include it.
Or just do another Vincent Price one and watch like some of his other stuff.
I suppose we could. But
I'll make it happen somehow.
I did still end up giving this a 4 out of 10, but it's a very high 4 out of 10. It almost gets, to memorable territory for me. Again, the thing that holds it back is it is just kind of a mess narratively. Things are happening and people are doing things.
That's the thing. Some of the plot is like, what?
It's very weird plotting.
Yeah.
I wish this movie was way more focused because it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, it's not that bad, actually.
No.
So, so this was the bad pick for you, but it wasn't too bad.
But if you're interested in the history of slasher movies and you're interested in, like we were talking about, these sort of like visual, more atmospheric type films.
It feels almost like a forgotten bridge movie between the gothic horror of the 60s and the 70s. Like,
it even has POV shots?
Movies. Yeah. I was like, I thought Black Christmas started that.
Nope,
apparently
it was
not.
Oblong Box.
Holy crap.
Now, Sean, you can amend your history of horror.
Yeah, apparently.
Because apparently Bob Clark was watching
Oblong Box.
Oblong Box.
Got some ideas.
We're taking notes. So that was that was a nice surprise, I guess, in those ways. And what did you end up giving it? I don't remember.
I gave it 2.5, but I would still like.
So a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I would still watch it again for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do our scale out of 10.
Oh, I didn't say for the first one. I'd probably give that a low 4.
I gave it a 3 out of 10.
But that's me being nice.
I was really bored. For
very low 4.
House Long Shadow.
This is close to a 6. I was debating honestly giving this a 6.
That's fair. I was debating giving it a 5, and I might still amend that.
I could actually see rewatching it and saying, you know what? Screw the plotting problems. It's a pretty fun movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's fair. All right, let's go on to our Poe picks, Sean. So you picked a Poe film.
I guess the reason we wanted to specifically pick Poe is because there's just so many that Vincent Price did with Roger Corman, a couple without. And Roger Corman, he was this producer / director in the 50s through working pretty much. I mean, he worked sporadically to like the 2010s, but like most of his known work is 50s and 60s and a little early 70s. And a lot of people came up through his ranks. You have a lot of famous directors started working under him. Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Joe Dante, a lot of big-name actors. James Cameron, that's another one. Sylvester Stallone started with him.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson is in one of these movies we're going to talk about, funny enough.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to, I'm, I guess, more of a defender, in quotes, of Roger Corman than you are, because I'm kind of like, you know what? Yes, he is cheap, and in some ways I think he should have spent more money, like, for instance, on some of these sets. But in some ways there's kind of an economicalness to that kind of filmmaking that I kind of respect.
Well, I'm not against low-budget movies, but I always say match the budget to your premise, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to make a movie that is going to be a lower-budget movie, consider that in your script, And it seems like these Poe movies are big-budget movies, or at least they're trying to. I guess The Raven less so, but Mask of the Red Death for sure seemed like it was trying to be a bigger movie than I think it maybe could do.
Yeah, I could see that. Sure.
Again, it's not terrible, but the premise, if you don't mind me just giving it really quick, it's really based on the Poe story. This is the one that's probably the closest.
Yeah.
And so
that
essentially,
we watched at least. I think there probably are a few that we didn't for this. I have one I can talk about when you're done as well. Yeah,
so Vincent Price plays a character called Prince Prospero, who begins the movie in a village where he sees signs of a plague, some sort of illness, some mysterious illness called the Red Death. And so he decides in fear to abduct a peasant woman and abscond to his castle, where he locks himself in there and attempts to ride out the storm.
Yeah.
So
the movie's kind of like thematically, it's about like trying to escape death, and you can't escape your fate. You can't escape death. It'll
Definitely
always
the thing
come
they
for
hammer
you.
in the end. Spoiler alert, Sean. I feel like we should just say a lot of these are going to be spoilerful. So
yeah, I wasn't going to give away the ending, but like that is kind of a thematic element for sure. You know, a lot of people talk about how they liken it at the time to the Cold War, which makes sense.
Yep.
You know, now you could liken it to any pandemic, COVID, for example. Now, but yeah, I like this movie much more than you. I will agree, it is not super scary. So I was disappointed. I'm like, okay, this isn't scary at all. I'm not really sure where the scary part is of this movie. I think it looks nice for the budget. I think I liked. Let's see. So we're going to talk about the lighting, I'm sure, because that was something we talked about when we watched the movie. I think there are parts where they use like these bright hues, these bright reds and bright yellows to kind of evoke like a dreamlike energy. I kind of love that. Mm-hmm. It's done later and admittedly much better in the movie Suspiria. It was also done in Wizard of Oz. They use like these this type of color filter that just doesn't get used anymore. Actually, Suspiria was the last time it was ever used. That just light up a whole room, give it this bright, dreamlike kind of feel to it, and I just love that look. So I was kind of a sucker for those moments,
like kind of like the tunnel and the Wonka.
Willy Wonka, yeah, like that. Okay. I love that kind of look.
Yeah,
for like a dreamlike,
otherworldly.
Yeah. And I think Vincent Price he's foreboding enough as this villainous character.
We watched an intro where kind of like a historian who is familiar a lot with his work, he called him a villain but with redeeming qualities.
I want to know where the redeeming qualities were.
He seemed like a complete jerk to me.
I did not see a redeeming quality in that whole movie.
Yeah, or that there was like a sympathetic portrayal or something. Like, I didn't really think of that at all.
Yeah.
Not in this one. He's more sympathetic in The Raven, much more so.
Yeah.
This one, he's just kind of a dick.
Yeah. No, like, you can make a villain character a total dick, but still, like, be like, okay, why did they become a dick? And that can be your sympathetic quality. Actually, I like to bring up, again, the movie I just watched, Phantom of the Opera. It does that really well, where the Phantom is, like, kidnapping a woman. He's doing horrible things. He's trying to force her to love him, which is disgusting. Mm-hmm. But you also you totally understand that it's like, oh, he was shunned from society because of his looks, and therefore he has gotten to this point where he feels like the only way for him to feel human is to force it on someone, which is gross, but you also kind of can pity that.
That's true.
Way. I just don't get that from this character, so I do not agree that this character feels redemptive in any way.
So let me just say kind of my problems with the movie, and you can address them to your heart's desire. First of all, the movie is just very slow. It takes a very long time to get from the beginning to the end, and not a lot happens in the middle of the movie. It doesn't feel like a traditional like rising action. It's just more kind of just characters kind of sitting there. There are some plots about the peasant girl getting rescued, and some details about that, and her trying to escape. Blah blah blah. There are some interesting production designs, like they have rooms that are like all one solid color, and they even like went, they drove them insane. They could never see yellow again, or whatever it was. So that was really funny. So at least they were trying there. And I thought Vincent Price was just mostly just kind of bland. I just didn't think he stood out too much. The thing I'll give it to them, and again, this kind of a spoilery, is the end, is interesting. Having the Red Death kind of reveal himself and kill everybody is an interesting premise. It's an interesting idea at the end. But I don't think it can overcome what for me is a very slow, methodic movie that doesn't really have much to say beyond that ending. But what do you think?
I can get that. Like, it is a little slow in parts. I think I was invested enough where the slowness didn't bother me as much, because I don't mind a slow movie or a slow horror film, because I'm like, okay, that can be atmosphere building, character building. And there was some of that. You definitely do get a lot of, like, his character. I mean, his character is evil, but you get a lot of it. And I don't mind that so much. I could understand, like, you could cut a little bit out of it, though. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that's I just didn't find it as big of a problem, but I could see it, sure.
Yep.
I don't know what else.
Well, I would kind of agree with you on the ending, but I mean, did you love Vincent Price's performance? Were you?
I wouldn't say I loved it. I liked it though. I did enjoy his kind of villainous betrayal. I like that. I guess I don't mind that over the top villain. I mean, he's not terribly over the top, but that kind of bravado, villainous,
I just don't
dramatic
get
performance.
Much memorable out of him. Even if I think of movies in the similar vein,
sure.
If I think of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and hold on, let me finish.
No, sorry.
With Alan Rickman, he's very memorable in that role. It's not a good movie, but boy, is that portrayal stand out to me.
Sure.
Right? And there are other examples too, where they're more over the top, but in a really compelling way. I don't see Vincent Price doing any of that.
I do think he has better villainous portrayals. I would actually say his portrayal in Pin the Pendulum, the other Poe movie that we didn't talk about, but I saw last year, I would say that's a much better villainous portrayal. I actually think it's a better movie altogether.
I even think House of Wax was a better villainous portrayal.
I think the reason I picked this, honestly, was it was higher up and I hadn't seen it. But I almost wish I had picked Pin the Pendulum, because I'm that is a better movie.
Well, at least you were able to explore a little bit more. And plus, a lot of people say this is the best Poe version.
Yeah, they do. And
or movie, I should say.
I guess I'd be curious to hear why, because even I don't agree with that. I guess it's maybe the deepest thematic one, so that's fair. I can agree with that.
Okay.
But I still think Pin and Pendulum is the more, creepier, actually, oh, this character is kind of scary. And also, you kind of feel for the character, too. Feels more well-rounded a little bit. I think you'd like that one more, honestly. His best villain portrayal, though, I will say, another movie we couldn't get to, Witchfinder General. Not a Poe movie, but he plays a witch hunter. He's based on an actual witch hunter.
Okay.
And he is terrifying in that movie. So,
yeah,
really good
nice
movie.
So, sum up your thoughts.
Some of my thoughts, I like this movie overall. I think there are better, stronger Poe movies. We didn't watch one of them, though, for the other pick. I will say The Raven gets...
We'll get to The Raven.
Sorry. The Raven gets worse. You can tell by our laughter. Although, entertaining it was. But, yeah, I'd still recommend people check this out, especially if you like 60s, atmospheric, gothic kind of horror films. I don't think it's a waste of time. I'd give it probably a high 6, low 7.
Okay. Wow, because I'm at a 4. I'm at a 4, and it's pretty middle of the road 4. That's nothing. Fair. I mean, it's not the worst movie ever, and again, it has one or two things I think are interesting, but it doesn't do enough to me. I'm mostly bored. All right, my Poe movie, which Sean just heavily alluded to, was The Raven. Okay, if you guys are familiar with The Raven, it's a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. It's not a very long poem. I mean, it's long for a poem. But it's not really a narrative. It's kind of a dialogue between a man and a raven outside the door.
It's basically a man reacting to what seems to be nothing outside, except a raven comes in, and it's like a raven is a stand-in for
saying nevermore.
You will never, I guess, feel love again, or
nevermore.
Whatever.
Taunting him. Yeah,
you will never get Lenore back.
It reminds me of I think it's closest to A Telltale Heart, if you've read it.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's very similar to that, where it's being taunted, a character slowly kind of being driven mad by an external thing.
I think about low-key surprised he didn't make a Telltale Heart into any of these.
The only problem with the Telltale Heart is it's pretty short. I feel like it's a short film versus... there's also The Cask of Amontillado, and that one actually I think it would be the best movie I could see out of it.
For Corman. Or a Corman Poe movie.
Yeah, or at least in terms of turning into a movie. I think the plot could really work. I haven't read all of Poe. Obviously, I hadn't even heard Bob
I have a book of all of his poems, so I should probably read some of these. I've read The Raven. That's the one I've read.
Well, it takes about 5 minutes to read The Raven.
I will genuinely say, and this is going to sound like I'm being silly, genuinely, The Simpsons Trials of Horror, their adaptation of The Raven, legitimately good. Yes, it's a bit of a Simpsons comedy, but they take it seriously and they do an actual adaptation of it. It's pretty good. So.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, so let's talk about how they adapt The Raven, which is very interesting.
They basically barely do it.
So we're in the 15th century, they say, which is already a little ridiculous. And there are like three...
Just side question. When was Poe active writing?
1800s.
Okay.
Yeah. So, 19th century. When did he die? That's a good question.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get like a gauge, because these movies do take place back then, it seems, but it's like... So yeah, that's what I thought.
Poe died in 1849, so it gives you a little bit of a... I knew it was pre-Civil War, but I just can't remember when. Okay, so anyway, so the movie is about three wizards who all fight each other and don't like each other very much, I guess. And so the movie opens with Vincent Price making a raven in the air with his magic fingers. And so, because here's the plot of the movies. Sounds so silly as I say it. So he is visited by Peter Lorre as a raven, literal raven, that he talks, the raven talks, and has he pleads with Vincent Price to turn him back into a human, which he does. And then he talks about how he was turned into a raven by this mysterious wizard named Dr. Scarabus, and played by Boris Karloff, who is, as he always seems to be, a villainous character. And so they essentially have to deal with the idea that I think Vincent Price's father, I'm trying to remember the plot, it's a little bit convoluted. Vincent Price's father is claimed by Scarabus to be like a friend of his, like it's a weird thing.
That was a lie, apparently.
Yeah.
They were like mortal enemies.
And Vincent Price also has a wife who is recently deceased.
Yeah, Lenore.
Yeah, of course, Lenore. And so it ends up they have to go on kind of an adventure to Scarabus's lair or castle or whatever. For some reason, I can't remember. It's a very weird, convoluted plot. And it doesn't seem like the actors care too much either, because they're hamming it up almost the entire time. The way they're like ad-libbing and reading the lines of the script, you can tell like they didn't care at all about this plot. And to be fair, it does seem like a very convoluted plot.
It's funny because like the Shout Factory, I have all these on the Shout Factory set, and they had like this old excerpt that Vincent Price must have filmed for like, I think it looked like PBS or something.
It was PBS.
Yeah, I think it was. And he was talking about, the script that was written made no sense, so we just kind of made it really silly. So he just admits, it's like, this is stupid.
All right, well.
And it was written by Richard Madison, who wrote like I Am Legend and all these like great novels, and wrote some great screenplays and Jaws 3. But also, but it's just funny that it was written by him.
It is very, very weird. And the other weird thing about it is Jack Nicholson shows up as Peter Lorre's son. First of all, Peter Lorre and Jack Nicholson do not look anything alike, so it is kind of funny.
I'm so used to that in movies, though, that I'm just like, whatever.
They don't even look remotely alike.
Yes.
And so they all go on this journey, and then apparently Scarabus is able to possess people because he possesses Jack Nicholson, and we get like one of the weirdest sequences I've ever seen. It's the worst day for night ever. I think it's the kind of day it's the kind of day for night that you like are trying to figure out whether it's supposed to be night, because that's how bad it is. Like, wait, is it supposed to be nighttime right now?
Do we want to explain for people who don't know what that is, what day for night is?
Well, in case you don't know, in a traditional filmmaking technique, because night is very dark, a lot of filmmakers would, instead of shooting at night, they would shoot during the day and just kind of pretend it was nighttime. I think this was a lot easier in black and white days, where it's like a little bit more difficult to tell what time of day it is. You see this like with Night of the Hunter, is that what the movie's called that we watched? Uses this technique, and it kind of works, but the second you add color, it just completely falls apart.
Yeah, and I think they kept it for a while because it's what they knew, and also because the equipment probably wasn't, at least in the 60s, I can imagine, wasn't quite there to light the scene.
Well, again, film does get more sensitive over time, but again, Oblong Box,
it did it, yeah.
It did some successful night scenes, so...
Yeah, this is at least early 60s, so who knows?
It was 6 years earlier.
To look into it.
6 years earlier, so I don't think the technology exploded between then and then.
All right, that's fair.
Obviously, this is right around when color becomes a thing, so I guess we can give him a little bit of credit for that. It wasn't like super well adopted until the late 50s is when color started to get. Widely adopted. But anyway, my point is it not just for the day for night, but everything is so ridiculous. Like it's like 2 minutes of Vincent Price bumping around in a freaking carriage with Peter Lorre back there. And then they get to the castle, and then Boris Karloff appears, and everyone is super goofy and over the top and silly. And then I don't really want to go into the plot too much because the whole thing doesn't even make any sense. It really doesn't. But there is like the most crazy wizard battle I've ever seen because they're sitting down in chairs. I want
someone to like redo the Harry Potter, or like one of the Voldemort versus Dumbledore battles.
They're sitting in chairs and they're waving their hands. And that's the other thing, because Scarabus, his motivation, he wants to be able to cast spells using his hands, which Vincent Price has the power to do.
Right.
But for some reason, Scarabus doesn't, and then he thinks that if he like forces Vincent Price to give him the power, that's how he's going to get ultimate power.
Well, he's using it. I guess he's not as good, and that's why.
That's the weird thing. He does cast spells with his hands.
Yeah.
And again, he does end up losing in the end. So I guess there you go. But at the same time, it is super funny to me that's the whole plot.
It was very strange.
And then he has a clone of his wife, of Vincent Price's wife, Boris Karloff. Scarabus keeps a clone of his wife for some reason.
No, wasn't that Lenore? That was just her. She faked her own death.
Well, even if she did fake her own death,
she says that.
Does she say that?
Yeah, she does.
Well, hold on. They found the corpse of her body, though.
No, they explain
that. They fake it, okay.
That was fake.
This is how I was not paying attention
to
the plot
they explain that.
But, okay, obviously I didn't remember that. But my whole point is, at the end of the movie, especially if it is his wife, like...
she's horrible, yeah.
She's just a terrible person.
Yeah.
He just leaves her to burn to death, which I think is kind of funny, too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I know she says that. I thought she was lying.
Oh, you thought she was like...
Yeah, I thought she was complete BSing at the end.
Okay. There's no indication that she isn't.
Well, the dead body.
At the very end... Okay, sure. At the very end, yeah, she does kind of like...
Because I thought Scarabus had like the ability to like use magic to recreate people.
They do say that, but I guess there's no...
And then she claims that she was possessed the whole time.
She does say that at the end, but she kind of gives a look of like, oh shoot, he lost.
Yeah.
It's not, because like, we see earlier in the movie, this is why I don't think she was actually possessed. We see early in the movie another character that was possessed and like attacks Vincent Price with an axe.
Yeah. The Axe-Man.
But it's very clear once the curse is lifted, he's very much like, where am I? What's going on?
Yeah, he didn't remember
How did I get there? Whereas she's very much like, she knows instantly what's happening.
That's true.
She's just like, oh no, he had me under a spell. And it's
that is a good point. Yeah, I could see that. I guess my whole thing is, and this movie is low budget. They had 2 locations essentially, and then the carriage sequence where one castle to another.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that castle, like, he usually repurposed it. I'm sure he repurposed that in other movies.
It looks like a studio set, a lot of the things. Sure. And it didn't really look very period accurate either. And
not terribly.
Boy, is everything in this movie overlit, like ridiculously overlit. Like there's so much light everywhere, and again, like I think there was like a thing about like it being imperfect, maybe, because you can tell like they could have dialed it back quite a bit, and you would still be able to see what was going on, right? Because they just have everything lit, and I think that was a thing that they did in the black and white days. But I really don't think it works as well in color, and it doesn't seem like until the 70s that they start to figure that out really well.
It was kind of the unfortunate thing about some of those movies back then. I'm more okay with it just because I watched movies like that back then more. I feel like it's one of those things you're kind of like, when you watch enough, you're like, you know what, whatever. I get used to it.
The problem for me is lighting goes hand in hand with atmosphere. So the movie leans more on atmosphere. Unfortunately, if the lighting is bad, the atmosphere is going to suffer.
Okay.
In which case the movie's going to suffer. It's leaning on that. And I feel like with these Poe movies, they should have been leaning so hard on atmosphere, you know? And then it just didn't really end up working that way. So, to sum it up, though, it's a really silly movie. I gave it a 4 out of 10, but I mean, if you want like a fun, bad movie, I would recommend The Raven of all of them because it is really, really stupid. I just think like, unfortunately, the actors are like trying to be silly. And you guys probably realize as you watch bad movies, I think it's a lot more funny if it's unintentionally bad than if it's intentionally bad. And unfortunately, The Raven leans a little bit too heavily for me, and it's intentionally bad.
I think I forgot that I rated it this, but I guess I stand by this. I give it a low 6. because I was entertained by it. And it was intended to be a comedy, so I was like, all right, everything was fun and funny, so sure. Yeah. And it was, unlike House of the Long Shadows, it wasn't just, I mean, obviously we did some commentary, but it was funny on its own as well. So it's like, okay, I could see this being entertaining in, like, the right setting with, like, a horror crowd.
I guess if you're, like,
silly, bad movies.
If you're getting drunk and you're with people,
yeah,
maybe.
That could be fun.
Yeah. It's definitely better than...
I like hokey B movies, so I'm more of a sucker for that kind of movie, too.
Definitely better for that than House of the Long Shadow, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely. Okay.
All right, Sean, let's get to your good pick.
There we go.
So tell us about...
There was a few that I could have picked. Like, I debated Abominable Dr. Fives. I debated the Witchfinder General. Pit and the Pendulum was another one. I mean, but I was like... House on Haunted Hill is probably his most iconic next to The Fly. And how could we do a podcast on Vincent Price and not talk about House on Haunted Hill? So I ended up picking that.
Which I'd never seen.
You had never seen it?
Yep.
No. And I was a little wary because I remembered it being kind of a hokey movie. But, you know, we'll get into it. It actually is even better than I remember, actually. Mm-hmm. I think when I watched it, I was a much younger viewer because I didn't realize until I was looking up on Letterboxd. I haven't seen it since 2013. So I was a much younger viewer. So I think I was expecting The Haunting. Like, It's a haunted house movie. It's really iconic. I'm like, oh, this is going to be really scary and spooky. Mm-hmm. It's not. It is basically, effectively, a fun... Like, this is a movie you have on during a Halloween party.
Okay.
This is like... It's like you're in one of those haunted house mazes.
Yeah.
As a movie.
Okay.
And it is so fun. If you like Scooby-Doo, if you like, going into, like, those haunted house mazes around Halloween, you will have a fun time. If you just love the spooky, like, ooh, creepy ghosts, creepy bats and stuff, that's not really scary, but it's, like, cute and fun. Mm. Oh, 100%. You'll love this movie.
Okay.
That is what this movie is. And honestly, I enjoyed it more on that level this second time. So it definitely heightened up for me. I guess I don't want to just steal the spotlight. What were some of your thoughts? We can go back more.
Sure. Yeah. But, so it's funny because Sean actually remarked to me during the movie, he thought I was going to hate the movie because it was campy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's so silly. Darn it. Why did I pick this?
I don't think it's actually super silly. It has silly things in it. Like, William Castle seems to be kind of a kooky guy, and some of the stuff and decisions he makes.
So I should, because this is your first William Castle movie. I'll give a bit of horror history knowledge on who William Castle is.
All right.
He was a kind of showman director in the 50s and 60s. He also produced Rosemary's Baby, which is really funny because it feels very out of place for the rest of his filmography. Mm-hmm. Because he directed a lot of movies like this, like The Tingler is another Vincent Price movie, where it was basically... make the movie, and we're doing this to have like a setup in the theaters where we're going to make this like a show. So in this movie, there's like a skeleton that pops out. In the actual movie theaters, when this was shown, they'd have a skeleton fly over the audience. In this movie, The Tingler, which is like this, there's this invisible creature that will attack you if you're scared, but you can't make a sound, like, if you're like mute or something. But if you scream, it'll scare the Tingler away. So at the end of the movie, the Tingler escapes into a movie theater and the lights go off and you just hear Vincent Price with like the screen black. The Tingler is loose in the theater. Everyone, for your sake of your lives, scream as loud as you can. And they have buzzers in the seats to make people startled and think like, oh, the Tingler's on me. Like,
that is cute.
I will pay so much money I will walk to a theater to go be able to experience.
You should let the people know who hold the...
Honestly, I should talk to them and just be like, hey, like, how much, like, would this even be possible? Could we do this?
Yeah.
Like, that would be fun.
That does sound fun. But anyway.
But he also cared about his movies, so he wasn't just like showman, don't care about the movies. So I would say his movies still work in and of itself.
I just wanted to pick up where I left off.
Yeah, sorry, no, I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to give a quick backstory on who he was.
Absolutely. But I mean, I told Sean right away that the premise of this film reminded me a lot of like The Haunting. A bunch of people being invited to a creepy mansion that is supposedly haunted. But I guess that is kind of where the similarities end, because House on Haunted Hill ends up kind of being a fake out movie in a way. Like it's
spoilers here.
Yeah.
Out.
But in that it's not exactly as it seems. So, essentially all these people are invited over to the house, and they're challenged by Vincent Price to stay the night. And if they do, he will give them $10,000. At the same time, Vincent Price has a wife who they are not happily married at all, and they seem to hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
And this is all kind of wrapped into this plot between the two of them, and who is going to best who across this night. So that's kind of the premise. Now, what I'll say I like about House on Haunted Hill quite a bit is like it has a traditional like haunted house movie atmosphere. I think it actually does that pretty well. Mm-hmm. First of all, the creepy basement is here with a random acid pit for some reason. They keep going around the house. They keep going around the house, and this character, what's the actor's name? Remind me, Sean. Is pointing out all
the guy's like, someone's gonna die here. The creepy guy.
Well, no, he says that someone did die here. He's always like,
and then he's like, who's gonna be next? Yeah, I'm looking him up real quick.
Yeah, because
Elijah Cook Jr., who is in Rosemary's Baby, actually.
Yeah,
he's in a lot of movies. Actually.
Well, yeah, he kind of plays because I've seen him in like The Killing and Rosemary's Baby. He plays kind of like this nervous type character in a lot of his movies, and he does here too. And so he's always pointing out all these murders occurred in this house, and I like the movie because it's very like Scooby-Doo-y a little bit, like in the fact that not only is it kind of a not actually haunted type thing, there's a explanation for everything, right? Although it is hilarious that to me that housekeeper woman acted like she did in this movie, despite her apparently not being a ghost.
I don't know what she was
doing. So funny. But it's also legitimately kind of creepy. I gotta be honest, when they do the jump scares with her, I think this movie does jump scares really well for the period.
Yeah.
And like they have this effect where they're kind of floating. I thought that was actually really well done. And there is like a mystery to the whole movie, and it does seem like there's legitimate danger. So all of that like builds up to me to being like, this is actually a decent horror film. Nothing like amazing or special. Certainly nothing I haven't seen before, but I think the sum of the parts are this is an entertaining enough movie that I could see myself watching this again.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like a masterpiece on any of its particular elements, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
But what do you think?
That's fair. I mean, I do think like some horror fans overrate it a little, and I just say that as like they give it like 9 out of 10s and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, guys, it's an amazingly fun movie, but like it's not one of the best horror movies ever made. I guess I kind of question that a little, but it's very well made. At being just it's a party movie, but in like the best way, not in like a so bad it's good way, like let's watch something stupid. It is like, this is legitimately entertaining, and you could either just throw it on during a party and have it on in the background, or sit and watch it and have a fun time. It's definitely the fun kind of like, something that like people who don't want to be scared but are like, oh, I'd be willing to watch something Halloween-y, just not something super scary, could enjoy. And they're not going to be like grossed out or traumatized or anything like that by the movie. Yeah. It's kind of like a slightly elevated like Goosebumps or something like that, where, you could almost see older kids at least being able to watch this even. It's pretty tame, but...
Yeah. I mean, there definitely are... So I mean, it's not too over the top or scary or anything like that, but it's definitely got some charm to it.
Yeah, and I like Vincent Price in this one a lot. I think he has the right blend of like, being his kind of like gravitas, like spooky self, like kind of voice without going too over the top at all. I think
it's probably the best we've seen of him in this marathon. Yeah. I would say. Yeah, I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that what did you give this movie? An 8 out of 10?
I gave it a 7, but honestly, I'm thinking right now I might just have to raise it. to a low 8.
I give this movie a pretty high 6. I think
Yeah.
it succeeds in what it's trying to do, but it's not trying to be anything special. I think it's actually really helped by its runtime, which is 75 minutes. It does not overstay
That
its
does
welcome
help.
at
And you know
all.
what? Doing it 8 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Just thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, no, this is going to be a mainstay staple in Halloween.
What I do I like actually the soundtrack too. Like there's that ooh.
Yes! Well, they do that. What is the instrument? I can never think of what it's called.
I don't know.
My friend, a friend of mine who knows a lot about like classical music and stuff, he's probably listening to this and he's probably yelling what the instrument is called, but it's this instrument like they use in old horror movies to get that woo like vibe.
So
and I love that.
Had it been used a lot before this, I guess,
It might have been, yeah.
Okay.
It was definitely.
But I liked it in this movie. I thought it was actually well implemented. So again, I don't compliment soundtracks of older movies too much, so it's nice to say something nice about a soundtrack. They did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So next year, Willing Castle podcast. I have a shot to make it happen.
I don't know about that. But I'm glad we experienced this one.
The original.
I do want to watch The Tingler now. That sounds
The
interesting.
Tingler is fun. 13 Ghosts is good. Okay. Everyone talks about the 2001 remake. At least everyone our age. But it's like there is an original.
According to Letterboxd, it's recommending Straight Jacket.
That's also good. Okay. That's actually creepy. Like that's also kind of a proto slasher a little bit.
Warning: Straight Jacket vividly depicts axe murders. That's the
1960s. They kind of had to. It was it was just after Hays Code, but not.
But that's the Letterboxd like little blurb. It's just hilarious.
Oh, that's just because it's fun at that point. But I love that.
All right, let me go to our last movie on this marathon, and the one I picked for the good one, which is The Fly. This is the original The Fly from 1958, directed by Kurt Newman.
You guys have probably heard of the David Cronenberg, Jeff Goldblum one from
yes,
the 80s.
This is the original. So, yeah, it was kind of in vogue, and we were talking about this actually the other day, about how they remade a lot of these traditional like B-movie 50s films in the 80s. But this one is one that I think kind of, not completely, but kind of holds up. So let's start with the good for me, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What I liked about The Fly is it is not too focused on being a horror movie. Its horror elements do come out from time to time, but it is kind of a tragedy. And Sean, you mentioned this. It kind of is a tragic, like Shakespearean almost tale of a downfall of a person who had strong and good ambitions to change the world, right? But he is irresponsible because, of course, The Fly is as much a science fiction movie as it is a horror film. Basically, the lead character, Andre, that's his name, I believe, right? Invents a teleporter. A Star Trek teleporter.
I will never, because of this movie and the remake, I will never get in a teleporter. If they ever become real, which they probably won't, but if they ever became real, I would never step foot in.
Well, I would never get in a teleporter because of like I was telling you about the teleporter paradox, where
that too.
It means you die.
That's valid too.
I would be pretty convinced I would be dead if I get in a teleporter.
Yeah.
But anyway, this movie doesn't get into that. But what it does do is it's really goofy. Like their explanation of why he's doing all this in his basement, I think, is kind of loose. But he's an inventor, and I guess they're going off of like that 18th century, 19th century version of inventor, like Ben Franklin flying a kite.
Effectively, the you're on your own, which I guess was a lot of things back then. You know, like a lot of these kind of horror movies, it was like one guy is inventing this thing that's going to make something huge, and all of a sudden you have a giant spider or whatever.
Yeah, I think if The Fly is remade in a modern day, it would not do that. It would do like they're in a lab in some company or something. But anyway, so what happens is he experiments first on objects, and then he experiments on a poor cat, which, by the way, warning to those of you who like cats, there is a cat that horrifically dies in this movie, apparently.
Effectively disintegrated into atoms. So you hear it floating around in the air. You just can't see it anymore.
You don't see it.
Because it's atoms.
Yep, it's a collection of
molecules.
Atoms. But eventually he works out the kinks, and he is able to teleport a gerbil.
Yeah.
He teleports from one to the other. But it isn't kind of implied that if something else gets in the teleporter while they're teleporting, something, because originally it was a bowl of milk with the cat.
Right.
And then
Like something will go wrong.
something will go wrong. And of course, then it's a fly that gets caught.
Unfortunately, when he decides to go into the teleporter and his genes get mixed with the fly's genes.
Now, the movie does this very slowly because it has sort of a frame story of after Andre dies. He is apparently been murdered by his wife, and they're trying to explore why.
It plays very much like a mystery movie of, is this woman insane and just snapped and killed her husband, or did something happen?
She acts very, very weird, and then she eventually agrees to tell her story. And then the rest of the movie kind of proceeds in a flashback to this whole story. Of course, and we're not going to go through every plot point beat by beat, it is revealed that he is half fly, and seemingly more and more so over time, turning more into this
animal, insect, effectively.
Yeah. So initially, they're trying to find the fly that was caught in the teleporter with the other half of him, so they could he could reverse it somehow. But eventually, he is resigned to his fate and asks for her help in destroying himself and all of his research, so nobody else could, be dangerously drawn into doing this. And it is really goofy. I mean, like when they do eventually reveal the fly, I think as a kid I would have found it very scary.
Yeah, so I will say this is the first Vincent Price movie I ever saw any clip of, because I saw the ending of this movie when I was 3 years old. And I only know I saw it then because that's when apparently I was suddenly terrified of spiders.
Well, I'm not talking about the very end yet. I'm talking about,
I thought that's the part you were talking about.
The fly reveal when he pulls off the
giant
sheet.
head, yeah.
He's got like a fly head and like a fly like claw or something. And it's a little bit silly today. It doesn't quite hold up. Sure. I remember the Cronenberg version being a lot more effective in this moment.
Of course. Yeah.
But they did try, and I did appreciate, and this is what I appreciate of the movie. It is a lot about like this drama of them trying to catch this fly, and sort of like Helene dealing with the consequences of her husband's actions, and it is kind of tragic in that way. So I do appreciate that, and he has a young son, Philippe, who seems to be unaware of what's going on, but Helene's trying to get his help, and he seems very capable. In fact, I'm shocked that she didn't put him in charge. If he didn't get
away, he would have probably got the fly.
Yeah, he would have rescued his dad, but of course she did get in the way eventually.
To be fair, I guess he has no idea why he's doing this, I guess. But I guess, what do you say to a kid,
Yeah. And then sort of the movie unfolds from there, and Sean alluded to, so spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, they fail, of course, and he kills the fly self, but his human head is actually on the fly body, which they find, they're kind of near, and they see that he had gotten caught in a spider web.
Yeah, screaming, "Help me! Help me!" With the seen Emperor's New Groove, they satire that.
It's a little bit silly too. I mean, like the high-pitched voice and all that.
If you're an adult, I still get creeped out by this because there's like, it is embedded in the back of my mind, like as one of my first memories as a child, seeing this freaking any of this movie, which is weird because my family does not watch horror movies. I'm a horror fan, literally, by my own accord. So I don't know how this would have been on TV. It honestly, I almost wondered because like, my memory could be mixing things up, but the version in my head looks more 90s than it does 50s. I remember instead of a boy character finding the web, because it's like the son finds the web and brings Vincent Price to it. I remember it being a girl.
Oh, okay.
And like it was a different angle. So again, I don't know if my memory is messing with me.
Sure.
I'm almost wondering if it was a commercial or a satire version of this. I cannot find anything online about it though, from like the 90s. But anyway, either way, this ending freaked me out to the point where now, or at least as a kid, I had arachnophobia. Like hardcore.
Yeah, and to bring up Vincent Price really quick, his role in this movie is actually pretty small. He's probably there for like 15 minutes, I would say, not very long.
Oh, he could have filmed this in a couple days easy.
I think so. Yeah, so of the movies that we've done with him, I think this is like the least Vincent Pricey one.
About that.
But, so here's my... I'm torn on it. I end up giving it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I think what it's helped by is almost like how campy and goofy it is, but it like takes itself very seriously at the same time.
Yeah.
I've always told you that I'll go with B-movie premises so long as the movie holds to it and takes it really seriously. I think it actually usually helps those type of movies.
Sure.
We got to watch Big Game, Sean. That's kind of the type of movie I think of, like these really stupid movies, but they like play themselves as really dramatic and serious. And I'll give credit to the actress who played Helene, Patricia Owens. I know you said it didn't connect as much with you, but it's like her performance, I thought, was the highlight of the film versus everybody else. I actually got into her role and her character because she does play it sort of understated. I like that Helene says, "Don't worry, I'm going to help you fix this." She is a strong female character.
Yeah, I did like that. That, like, especially, like, this is 57, 58. Like, it's like, whoa, this is innovative for the time.
You're
like,
not
oh my
really
gosh.
expecting it. Yeah.
Like,
And she is a strong character. And she even, like, basically frames herself for murder so that I think, again,
right.
it's not very clear.
I think that's the part that I've struggled with her character a little bit of, like, okay, I get you don't want to, like, sully your husband's name with his failure, but also, like,
I think the original plan of
there's a
hers was to
better way
not
to
even
do.
reveal any of it because she wanted to hide his research
Yeah.
and fulfill his dying wish. That's my guess.
That was probably...
Which is like the ultimate sacrifice. If she was willing to give up her freedom to make sure no questions are asked about his death, that's pretty dark, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So I'll give it Carl credit. But again, at the same time, it is a little bit silly. It's a little bit dated. And the movie, I think, would be a lot better with nostalgia goggles, I think. And because I don't have those.
I guess I do have, in a weird twisted way, nostalgia goggles for this movie a little bit. At least in the fact that it affects me still. Whereas, yeah, I guess if I saw that effect, I'd probably have a reaction similar to you of, like, that's kind of silly.
It's the type of movie that I appreciate, and I understand why people like it a lot more than I do. But I'm still going to go low 6 out of 10 for me. This is, like, barely passing.
Yeah, this is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
So, yeah, or both are good movies for me, at least, or 8 out of 10s. And for me, part of that is the, like, I mean, yeah, I'm also a horror fan, so is it really that big a surprise? I like the way the story plays out. I like that, like, especially for the time, a lot of times when you have these scientist characters that it's like, oh, you're playing God, don't do that. They're always this money-hungry a-hole who doesn't care about humanity or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this guy's a good guy. He's just a little naive. He just makes horrible mistakes that end up being his downfall.
Yeah, he's not evil or anything like that. Like, this movie could have been a lot more lazy in its portrayal.
Yeah, like, I've seen so many of these 50s B movies, and some are great, but some are like, okay, yep, the scientist is evil, of course, we gotta demonize science, and it's like, okay, don't do that.
It's kind of like what
the other way.
Some Frankenstein movies have done with Victor Frankenstein, made him just like this evil mad scientist and not much character.
Instead of just making him like, oh, he realizes he made an error, and
like the
1930s one does pretty well, Boris Karloff one. But anyway,
which we'll get. Hint.
Are we alluding to anything? No, not at all. We're not doing a Frankenstein podcast at all. Anyway, no, that's one thing I like. I agree with you on Elaine's character. I think next time I watch it, I'll probably connect more. I guess, like, I've always kind of seen this movie more as the downfall of this guy trying to better humanity but failing.
Yeah, to me,
naivety and arrogance.
If you're looking at it like a moral story, like a fable, I guess I'd see that. But to me, like, his character is actually pretty flat. He doesn't get a lot of development. He's just kind of a guy who's obsessed with his work. But I thought that the character of Helene was more round and she had more to do, and therefore ended up. So I think in the end, slight pass.
Yeah. And there are 2 sequels to this. Vincent Price is in the second one, and it's watchable.
Not the second sequel, the first sequel.
He's in Return of the Fly, and then the second sequel is Curse of the Fly, and there's not a single fly in the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's connected loosely to the family. That's it.
And I'm assuming inevitably we will talk about the Cronenberg Fly.
Oh, sure. We could do that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
We'll find time. And that kind of concludes the marathon. So instead of ranking the movies, which I think people would already be able to do, I want you to really quickly rank, and again, I'm not holding you to this, I think it's very informal, but rank the Vincent Price performances.
Oh,
for
interesting.
You, from the worst to the best.
Okay.
So, like...
Oh, worst? Well, House on the Long Shadow, because none of those actors, like we said, gave a rip.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, but I'll let you continue your list, and I'll
worst to best.
So next worst.
Probably The Raven.
Okay.
I mean, come on. It's so goofy. And then, is it Up on Box? Because honestly, he's not the most memorable part of that movie.
That's true. Yeah. He does seem to be phoning it a little bit there, too.
Yeah, that's fair. And then probably Mask of the Red Death.
Okay.
Yeah. And then The Fly, because, like you said, he is not the focus of the movie. Mm-hmm. And then House on Haunted Hill, I would say, is the best out of the ones. Out of the ones we watched, at least.
Yeah, that's out of the ones we watched.
Yeah.
Mine are similar, so I certainly have the same worst one, House of Long Shadow. He's barely memorable, and he's,
Yeah, they're all, like, there for a paycheck. They're like, fine,
Yeah.
do this, give us money.
The late stages of his career at that point.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, I think I'll probably put... I mean, it's tough. I think I'll probably go The Raven next, and then... I don't know. I might actually be a little bit different than you, because I might actually put The Fly next, because he just doesn't add that much to the movie, and he's just kind of there.
Okay.
It doesn't give him a lot of particularly good material to work with. Mask of the Red Death would be after that. I'm not as enamored by his performance as you are. And then I'll put Oblong Box, because, you know, despite the fact that he is phoning it in a little bit, I think, like, he has a much bigger part of that movie to play.
He does. I guess I think of, like, The Killer first when I think of that movie.
And I did think of, like, the climax of the movie, where I think Vincent Price actually does do a pretty decent job.
That's true.
Yeah, where, like, that required a little bit of acting from him. And then I'll put at the top House on Haunted Hill as well. Not necessarily because I think it's amazing performance, but he is memorable.
I don't think any of the ones
memorable.
we talked about are, like, Oscar-worthy or anything.
No.
But I think... You know, there's a reason people like Vincent Price, you know, and I think at least some of these movies showcase that.
Yeah,
and I think there's ones that would have been better.
I'm not sure at the end of this I'd say, like, oh, I'm a fan of Vincent Price and I like him.
That's fair.
He just kind of leaves little impression on me. In fact, like, most of the movies I, again, was drawn to other actors more than him in pretty much every movie. I would say there was one who was better. So... I'll have to get to the other ones you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully maybe for another podcast we can work in Abominable Dr. Fives, Witchfinder General. Last Man on Earth. I'm reading I Am Legend right now, so it'd be fun to do all three of those. And
Omega Man.
That one. Yeah, Omega Man and I Am Legend, obviously. Mm-hmm. We'll watch the proper cut, the director's cut for the proper ending.
Yeah. Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, in case you're wondering why it ended it so stupidly, it's because of a bunch of dumb 14-year-olds, boys, who watched the movie.
I don't know who was behind it,
screening.
but thank God someone said we should release an alternate cut of the movie, not just it as a deleted scene.
Yeah, no
because I bought that Blu-ray so quickly, and I have watched that version every time. So
yeah,
that's a little off topic.
100%.
But.
Sorry, yeah, but... Yeah.
All right, we did allude. I'll just allude again really quick. We are going to be covering Frankenstein. As for how many movies we cover, I think it's just kind of based on how much time we have. But there's the new Netflix Guillermo del Toro movie, Frankenstein, coming out in the first week of November. So you better believe we'll be talking about that one, in addition to some of the more other iconic portrayals of...
I mean, we got to talk about Boris Karloff.
Frankenstein, and of course, yes, the monster, Frankenstein's monster.
Yes.
I also did see the play, so I have that. It was several years ago at this point, but I do remember it enough. They had a Fathom event.
Oh, okay.
In which Benedict Cumberbatch played the monster. It was pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Yet Another Movie Podcast. Again, expect to see us about bi-weekly. That's the schedule we want to keep. And we are heading deep into award season, so you can expect us to cover some more material related to movies coming out, as well as some good retrospective marathon stuff. As we want. Yeah. Marathons are a lot, and Sean and I have kind of I think we're still going to do like one major marathon a year.
Yeah, I get like not wanting to do too many because it can get you burned out pretty quick when you're watching like 20 movies of like one director or something like that.
But actually, I like director ones almost the best because they do have a bit of variety in terms of genre and, you know, versus like a series. Like, I think a long-running series like Nightmare on Elm Street, that marathon we did was one of the most crushing because they're all like the same type of movie. Whereas watching... I
mean, I'm at least a fan, so it would have been somewhat interesting to talk about.
But like watching Stanley Kubrick, he makes very different movies. So
that's true.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Yeah, you will not have the same conversation between The Shining and Full Metal Jacket and 2001: A Space Odyssey or whatever.
And it will not feel stale watching them all. All right, thanks guys so much, and we will see you in the next episode.
All right.
All right.